In the Zoom room right now is the one and only legendary Tony Terry is in the building. What's up, fam?
What's good, Bobby?
Yes. Man, all I can say, man, I remember when Ted Currier called me and said, hey, look, man, we trying to make this record move. I'm like, come on, man, Tony Terry, that's my dude right there. Let's make this thing bounce. And yeah, man. And I just want to say, man, I had a pleasure of doing that record with him and with y'all, man. Love every work that you have done. First of all, man, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. You know, just kind of still navigating through this whole pandemic thing.
Right.
But I have to say, speaking on during that time, first of all, That Kind of Guy was one of my favorite songs on that project.
Right.
That whole era of, you know, I didn't realize at the time the legacy that, you know, we were creating, and, you know, the body of work and the music was going to end up being classic, because that's also the album that With You was on.
Right.
And I didn't realize, I knew that With You and, you know, Everlasting Love were going to be good songs, but I didn't know that they were, obviously didn't know that they were going to be classic songs, and they were going to become the part of the fabric of people's lives. So I'm really grateful for that. It was a good time. That was a good time during that time.
Now, not only that, people considered you can answer this yes or no, people considered you a part of the New Jack Swing movement. Would you say you was a part of that New Jack Swing movement, particularly with She Flies, your first single?
That's good. That's good. You know, it's interesting because oftentimes when the New Jack conversation comes up,
right.
I'm not really in it. I don't know why.
Right.
My music came out during that time. I don't know if I'm considered New Jack or not. I just don't know.
I mean, but do you think it's also because they didn't kind of keep you in that stigma of the New Jack Swing? Because again, you mentioned hits that you had like Everlasting Love, your ballads definitely were those R&B central type of songs. Most artists, they keep them in that New Jack Swing era because everything they did was a part of it. I don't think, me personally, and that's why I'm asking you, I don't think you were really a part of that whole movement. I just think you had a record, She's Fly, that seemed to fit within that genre. I can't say that your entire career was that. Right,
and I came out during that time. You know, my record, She's Fly. This is my first record.
Right.
She's Fly came out at the same time. I think it might have even been the same day as I'll Be Sure, Tony, Guy with I think it might have been the Teddy's Jam. That was their first single.
Right, exactly.
We all came out the same week. Our records came out the same week.
Right.
In October, actually, in 1987.
Right.
And I think because that, I kind of got grouped in the New Jack sound, but not really, because I was, you know, my label didn't know what to do with me. They couldn't figure out who Tony Terry, the artist, was. And when we had success with She's Fly, I think it took Sony by surprise. They weren't expecting. And then it was like, okay, well, we got this record. Now what are we going to do with this guy?
Right.
So it just took them a minute to figure out. And I'm kind of glad I didn't get labeled, you know, as one particular kind of artist, just a New Jack artist. You know what I mean?
Right. So
you know, I'm glad that did not happen, but I'm also grateful to have been around at the very beginning of the New Jack era.
Right, and plus not only that, you got the voice, man. You was able to take on and tangle any song, R&B or dance, which a lot of women, you know, you are the R&B singer there, because women to this day, like you said, you have those classic ballad songs, Everlasting Love, With You, Forever Yours. I mean, you just really molded and found yourself in a place where, look, don't just tag me as this New Jack Swing singer. Here's the thing that I want to ask you, though, real quick. I know you're originally from D.C., right? Am I correct?
Well, I'm originally born in North Carolina, but I grew up in D.C.
Okay, right. Grew up in D.C. Now, here's the thing that I'm trying to figure out, because the story goes all over the place. Was you discovered by Anita Baker?
No. I was actually discovered, if you will, by a young cat who was in our band. Okay, so I moved from DC to New York in like 1985 or 86. All right, and I was doing a play called Black Nativity, which is a legendary play that happens every year, written by Langston Hughes and It's done somewhere in the world every year. So I was in that show, and one of the musicians who ended up becoming one of my best friends, from the very moment, first rehearsal, he said, "Bro, you're a star." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "No. You're a star, and I'm gonna make sure that the world knows who you are." Right? So I didn't really put too much credence into that because I'm one of everybody else. I'm in the ensemble.
All right.
I wanted to be a star, but for somebody to see something in me that I didn't really see. So he took me to this club. This is months later. Took me to this club to check out this band. I was ready to go back to DC, and he was like, "Nah, man, we're going to check out this band tonight." So we went to see this band, and the band was good. And after their performance, the music director of the band was like, "So what'd you think?" I was like, "Man, y'all pretty good. I think y'all kind of missing like, one thing." He's like, "What is that?" I said, "Me, man." You're missing me. You put me in this joint, y'all gonna be fire.
Right.
So he was like, "Okay, here's your time. Let me know what you got." So we were at a place called Danceteria in New York.
Right, in New York City, right.
It was packed. It was packed. So I started singing maybe a Luther Vandross song or something. And Ted Currier, who I didn't know at the time, was standing directly behind me. And he turned around and he goes, who are you? Where'd you come from? So he gave me his card, and I held on to his card. He just said, "Here, give me a call." And that was it. And I held on to Ted's card for maybe a week, 2 weeks. I called him one night, about 11 o'clock. Don't know why I called him so late. But when I called him, he was excited to hear from me. He was in the studio working with the Boogie Boys.
Right.
He was like, "Come on up now. I'm at Unique Studio. Come on up." I was like, "Now? I'm in East Orange." When I got up, I got on the bus, I got on the PATH train and a subway. Got up to Unique Recording, and when I got there, he had Parliament Funkadelic, some of the guys from Parliament in the studio working with the Boogie Boys, and I was blown away. And of course, I met my man there, who in the beginning said, "You're a star," Daryl Ball, and I met him there, and Daryl had this typical New York energy, real fast, "Yo, son," talking game and all that kind of stuff. Right. So we go in the studio, and he tells Ted Currier, "Yo, man, if you put my man in the booth, you'll fire all them." He said the N-word. So Ted was like, "Really? All right, well, let's see what you got." So he pulled the guys out of the booth and puts me in, and he just starts giving me things to do. And one take, I was knocking them out.
Right.
So Ted did end up firing those guys and putting me on that record, and that was the Boogie Boys follow-up album, Survival of the Freshest.
Right.
First rap record that had R&B hooks.
Right.
On Capitol Records. And then while I was working on that record, Ted's wife, Sherry Shepard, asked me to come into a room where there was about 6 people in there and sing for them. Well, I wasn't nervous. I was already working. I was in the studio. So, okay, I'll come and sing. And I probably sang the same song that I sang at Danceteria. And I didn't know that was upper management at Capitol. So they signed me right away. I left that room with a 7-album deal.
Wow.
I wasn't nervous. I didn't even know I was auditioning.
Right. Right.
So it wasn't like this whole big old thing. So I got the deal. So I guess Ted probably was the person
who discovered you.
Yeah. Right. And then the guy that signed me at Capitol Records got fired. And then I didn't belong to anybody at Capitol Records, but that guy got hired at Epic Records.
Right.
He convinced Epic to buy my contract from Capitol, and that's how that happened. Now the Anita Baker part comes in where it's the second album. We're doing the promotional thing, and I had done Arsenio, and then there was a show that came on after the Arsenio Hall show called The Party Machine.
Right.
Which
Nia People. Yes.
Howard Hewitt's ex-wife.
Right.
And I had been on that show, and so I'm walking into the office one day, and the phone is ringing, and our receptionist is not there. So I answered it, and it was Anita Baker.
Wow.
She was looking for me. But I didn't know Anita Baker, so I didn't believe it was Anita Baker.
Right.
I thought it was a joke. And she was like, listen, this is Anita Baker. I'm looking for Tony Terry. And I was like, yeah, right. I'll go along.
Right.
And, so she said, listen, she said, I was in my bed asleep and I heard one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life. And it made me sit up in my bed to see who it was. And so she started talking about the song. She said, well, wow, how come I haven't seen a video for it? And I told her that the label didn't think it was a hit.
Right.
And there was not going to be a video. She was like, what? Those people wouldn't know a hit if it hit them in the forehead. She said, I'm going to send you $50,000. I need you to shoot a video for that song. I was like, what? You're going to send me we don't know each other.
Right, exactly.
What was, I didn't believe it. I really did not believe it. A couple of days later, the certified check for $50K. And she called me back and said, I'm going to call him. I recall Blair Underwood. Have him direct. It was his first directing gig. Was the video. And that's how it happened. She gave me the money and we went out to LA and shot the video, and pretty much history was made at that point.
Yeah, because I know throughout the years I've heard people bounce the story around. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know that's exactly how the story was. Because Tony Sumner, now it don't have to bounce around no more.
Right. Yeah.
Now, real quick before I let you go, because I know you moved around after that, because everybody kept saying they wonder what happened to Tony Terry. Now I know that you moved around. You was doing some off-Broadway plays. I'm here and there, and also you found your way to record it, but you started recording gospel music. What made you decide, like, okay, was it because you had a church background, or give us an explanation on why you made the move from R&B into gospel?
It wasn't really making the move. I'm a singer.
Right.
And I sing gospel, I sing R&B, I sing country and Western, I've trained classically, I sing jazz. I'm a singer.
Right.
And different times, or I like music of all kinds. So it wasn't like I made the switch. I just did what was a natural thing for me to do, and that's I did a gospel record, and then it worked. And people thought that just because you're not on radio, people think that you're all washed up. But guess what? It's a whole big old world out there.
Oh yeah.
There are people who have sold 100 million records, and I've never heard of them.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They work, and that's why.
It's a big world out there.
Yes.
And I've had the opportunity. I toured with Roberta Flack for 10 years.
Okay.
And, which was amazing. We was doing gigs like for Kings and command performances for like some oil sheik in Saudi Arabia who would fly us over and bring us. It was just amazing stuff that I've had the opportunity to do. So I've never really disappeared. I've always relied on my craft to make a way for me, and it always has.
Right.
Since I left high school, I've never had to do anything except make music.
That's good. That's good. And that's a great choice, a way of thinking too, of how you want to move on with your career, because it is your career and you want to build it the way you want it, not the way somebody else can build it, so they won't allow you to move anymore.
I'm happy with what's going on, and I'm working on new music, of course.
Good.
I have a new single out, "Born to Love You."
Yes.
Which is doing really, really well. I'm really excited about it.
Yep.
I recorded "Born to Love You" last year, and because I'm always recording.
Right.
It's just another song that I recorded and just put it away, and then I was like, okay, it's good, and put it on the pile of other things that we did.
Right.
And I went back, just listening to some stuff one night, and brought up "Born to Love You," and I thought, maybe I slept on this. Maybe let me just investigate a little bit more.
Right.
And we put a mix on the record, and then I started getting really positive response. So I called one of my boys who has a label, and I asked him to put it out for me and promote it.
Right.
And I gave him a little piece of the publishing.
Right.
And he ran with it, and it's working. I can't even complain. I do every Tuesday. I do Tony Terry Tuesday on my Facebook fan page, and it has turned into a thing. Something that I started doing because I needed something to do during this pandemic. I have a nice size house,
right.
And me and my wife and son are there. But for some reason, after about a month of all of us being in the house started shrinking.
Yeah.
but nowhere to go.
Right, it's like we got to widen this a bit here, so somebody got to go for a while.
So I started doing Tony Terry Tuesday as just something to do.
Right.
I want to sing, and then it has allowed me to connect with fans, reconnect with fans, and, and it's become a thing. So now we have an audience of probably 55,000 every Tuesday, which I'm really good. I'm really happy.
Well, good. Well, we happy about that Tony Terry fan page on Facebook. Make sure y'all tap into that, who haven't tapped into that. Man, Tony, man, I thank you so much for taking the time, man, to holler at us over here, man. We appreciate you. And again, get to New York City, man, when this is over, man.
Come on, man. I'm going to holler at you when I get there, too.
No doubt, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tony Terry in the building.